Hey, Ryan here. Thank you for tuning in. All links for things we're talking about will be in the description down below. Welcome everyone to Concord News. I am Orion Solo, and I'm here with...
Lynn Rankin.
All right, today we're going to give you your news update for the day and other things. First up in New Eden, we're going to go over Dotland, go over our most violent systems here. Looking at Dotland right now, of the most 24 hours, Catch looks to be number one with 1,600 kills and 74 pod losses. And Genesis, surprisingly enough, as the number one empire for the last 24 hours, beating the Citadel, which of course has Jita in it. And so it's very interesting to see that they were beat by 500 ship losses. So 2,800 ship losses and 843 pods there. Over the last 3 hours, KVN and Fountain looks to be a retribution roam gone wrong. And Fountain cleaning up some roamers there. And then S2, 5C, and Catch with 1,300 kills. Looking at that one a little bit closely, we're seeing looks like a lot more shuttles. This seems to be a thing, a lot of shuttle losses and folks, maybe a camp going on through there. But that is your most violent systems as per date.
And then looking at the Alliance and SOV movements, SOV movements haven't really moved around a whole lot, except for Dead End losing a lot of drone land space. They're losing quite a few systems. Looks like to XQTY. That's looks to be who is taking over the space. Just from the outside looking in, what I can make sense of Dotland here, because yeah, definitely a lot of systems are being transferred over.
Yeah.
Being
And
transferred over.
for folks who aren't following, XQT is Skill Yourself Reborn with No Fun Allowed, Higher Than Everest, and some of the other groups that used to make up that group of guys.
Yeah. And then for Alliance movements, we have the biggest movements happening right now with Insidious, who over the course of the last 30 days have hemorrhaged over 5,000 members, going from 8,320 to 3,130 members. So, with a loss from 71 corporations down to 46. So, they've lost a lot of heavy hitter corporations. Yeah,
Do you think
lots
the
and lots of corporations there.
Do you think we'll see them fully close down? Do you have any thoughts on what you think they're going to survive this kind of collapse?
Well, looking at where everyone is going, a lot of corporations are leaving to different Winter Coalition alliances. So we have lots of different corporations going to Fraternity Auxiliary, Fraternity Proper, Test, Northern Coalition. We're seeing a lot of movement to other groups like into the drone regions. So three corporations went into Brotherhood of Spacers, but we're seeing a lot of people moving into Fraternity and Northern Coalition. So that it seems as if that Insidious is losing its standings with Winter Coalition. Without knowing a lot of the details inside of it, what just looking at where all the corporations are going, it looks like members are wanting to stay in Winter Coalition, but what's happening is Insidious is not going to be allowed in Winter Coalition. Just seeing where all the corporations are going, it's the same thing that happened with Slow in Kelvala Expanse when we were being removed from Kelvala Expanse. A lot of corporations, and we were basically announcing the closure of Slow. What ended up happening is a lot of corporations went off into different drone region entities because they didn't want to move their stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which power to them. I hate moving.
Correct.
But yeah, so just looking at that behavior, it looks like Insidious is losing their standings in Winter Coalition.
Yeah, I imagine we'll see some more groups grow from, unfortunately, the failure of Insidious here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, Winter Coast's so big, I imagine they'll find groups within there. I mean, you can look, and I think there's at least one group that joined PL from there past the past year. So there's different places those people can go, and hopefully they do find some homes. And because me and you both understand the difficulty of losing your space and losing a place to be, and so
Yep.
that's always a difficult thing. But hang in there, guys. Just because your group doesn't uh, make it through a thing doesn't mean the game's dead to folks. You know, try to tell Horde members that when the collapse was happening for Horde. So just hang in there, guys. And if you ever need anything, just holler, and I'll do what I can to reach out and help out.
Yep. And same thing with me. Just because Slow disappeared and all that doesn't mean it stopped Eve for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Eve is a great game. Just hang in there, guys. I promise you, you'll
Yeah.
find a group that makes sense to you, and it'll work out just fine. But yeah.
So what do we have here,
Oh,
Orion?
this is your game because you are far better at evaluating some of these. But the biggest one we're going to talk about is this crazy 100 bill. Now, this is on the very low end, 100 bill rail loss to a effectively soloed by a Caracal Navy issue.
Oh, that Caracal Navy issue must have been absolutely over the moon for this type of kill. Just wondering, do I even have the damage to do this? Do I even have the ammo to take this
Yeah,
on?
right.
So we're seeing a lot of blueprints here, a lot of blueprints. And for every one of the blueprints, we're seeing quite a few copies, which those are valued at a point oh ISK, 0.01 ISK.
Mm,
Just so we're seeing 100 billion ISK is the minimum value, essentially, because those copies are essentially not counting, but that doesn't mean they're not worth anything. We're
yeah.
seeing so much. I mean, this person, I'm just looking at what's in here. There's just so much different loot. It's honestly looking like someone was packing up
Hmm.
and either moving to a different staging or trying to get all their stuff out. There's so much random stuff in here, but it's all industry based.
Hmm.
And I'm
Yes.
trying to see
I don't.
what we've got a Sharon blueprint. No idea how well researched that was. We've got we've
Yeah,
got
looking.
thousands of nanite engineering data cores.
I don't know the.
A retriever BPO dropped.
Oof. I
Go
don't
ahead.
know the story, but looking at it, it looks like he was. I think he boated off a tether.
It kind of looks like that.
It looks like he just boated
Kind
off
of looks
tether or
that.
was bumped or something. I mean, which again, I imagine he boated off tether because I can't imagine how long it would have taken a Caracal Navy to bump a ray off tether
Well,
if it was at zero velocity.
considering the mass of these ships, a Caracal wouldn't need to do too much in terms of bumping, since the mass would carry the Rhea forward. So, but yeah, looking at this, it died in the system of ZD1 Z2, and it died off of the 6 TAC I gate, 3,600 kilometers. So yeah, that is right off of one of those structures there. It would have been really interesting. We don't know exactly what. We don't exactly know what kind of structure it was on. It looks like it could very well be like an Anzaplex.
Mm.
If we, I'm going to be booting up Eve. I don't have it open at the moment, but I'm gonna check that system to see if there's an Anzaplex. It very well could be that someone was using the Enzaplex. So you carry on while I get Eve going. I don't,
Uh,
other than seeing if there's an Ansplex in that
uh,
system, I don't
you
think
go
there's
ahead and
much more we
research
can
because I
cover
forgot to
in that.
cover the faction warfare update. So looking at faction
All right.
warfare, we're still at 47 to 23 between the Amar and Mimitar factions, with Amar losing their progress in Auga that they had made and currently sitting at 0.8% contested. And it looks like Carmona is still stable, so Mimitar are not being able to push down south just yet. And the north not changing at all, really. So no real changes there. And we'll flip over to the Galente, the Gal Cal war zone, and looking at 61 systems for the Caldari, 29 systems for the Galente. No real big changes here uh, per any thing I can tell so far, but it does look the I will say the Cow Warzone looks far healthier than it did, even though if you look at the map, it looks like they have huge swaths of rear guard stuff, which is very unfortunate. It doesn't create a lot of content in those and kind of breeds a lot of farming in those areas. So yeah, you really don't want to see that within a war zone, because if you flip over back to our war zone, there is quite a bit for the Amar in the south and quite a bit for us in the north. So it's a little more even looking when you look at our rear guards. But that is your faction warfare update.
Yeah, and I took a look at the systems for that Rhea. Definitely looks like it was bumped off of tether.
Mm.
Um, yeah, or caught on the gate or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I think
There were no Ansiplexes, so it would have to be um a structure.
I had someone say they think this could be well valued over 1 trillion ISK. Do you think that's a reasonable value, considering if these were, say, researched BPOs? Because I know that researching can take hundreds of millions, if not almost a billion ISK to research those fully.
Well, not including those costs there. If I just take a look at, for example, the Furbolgs, there were, if I can math, there were 35 Furbolg Tech Tube BPCs. If I just take those, Furbolg 2, if I just take a look at BPCs for those, each one of those, for example, is valued at around 20 mil. So just that alone, 35 times 20 million.
All right, hold on one second.
That's
Back and go.
all right. So continuing on, what's our next kill?
Let's see. Looking at that, that will be the Viator of Paulo Charles. Died in P3EN and the Veil the Silent. Sweet Jesus. 82 billion ISK lost here. And
Looks like
this
that is
one,
definitely got to be something caught off of the Anzaplex.
you think so? This one looks
Yeah,
like he was trying to
because
transition. Well, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe.
yeah, because if you look at it in P3EN, there is a Ansplex in that system, and it's 1,000 kilometers off. Which, if I recall, there's still an Anzaplex in P3EN that is off the Obe Gate,
Oh.
1,000 kilometers. So,
A relic,
and
correct?
then
That's a.
if we take a look at this, listing all the pilots, do they have a bubbler with them? Man, this Viator is just screwed.
Yeah, this
Getting
was.
caught by a Scepter gang.
Yeah, you're not. And this poor guy looks like this is all of his ratting that he's accumulated.
Yeah.
This is all what I mean. Looks to me like hot, like ratting stuff that they have gathered from a period of time, or I mean, it has to be because you're not typically bringing 10th tier overseers personal effects back home with you.
Yeah, and it's all Garista's loot. So this is someone's 80 billion isk worth of stuff that they've collected. And we're gonna go and sell to market.
Golly, that's a lot. I mean, I don't. Do you get the overseers effects every time, or in the different tiers per each one you do? Because that's
It depends. It
175 of
depends
them.
on the DED that you're in, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
golly. So being honest with everyone, I haven't done any of these kind of DEDs in such a long time, nor did I do it very much. So I am very clueless on this. This is just a lot of high-end modules that I typically don't get a chance to play with.
And then taking a look at this, it looks like he also had some SCC encrypted bonds in
Hmm.
here as well. So that was just some straight ISK. He was
Yes,
probably going to try and sell them along the way to Jita. But, oh, this is,
they did not get
oh,
lucky on the loot
they
fairy
did not.
said, "Here's a drop," because out of that 80 bill, only 16 bill dropped.
Yeah. I mean, still for a gang of 34 people, 16.4 bill, that's still half a billion ISK between everyone.
Yeah, and looking at what dropped, they almost got a crystal set for each person. Well, the
Almost.
crystals dropped, so they got some high grade crystals.
Yeah. They got 17 high grade crystal gammas.
Golly, man.
Ah, this poor dude.
Why couldn't it have
Poor
been
dude.
me?
All righty. And then we're getting into some big kills here. There
Mhm.
was a little bit of a scuffle in Amazon.
Uh, a
Just a
little
little bit.
a little scuffle for 600 bills, probably a little of an understatement, but 600 bill lost in that fight. A big deal. A lot of streamers involved. Fun fact: as we're looking at our first kill mail here from Casper Sullivan of my alliance, uh, dying to an old corporation from our alliance. Black Omega Security with Test Alliance putting some final hits on this Vehement class Dreadnought from Casper Southern Rotini tribe there for a cool 50 billion ISK. Um, this was an interesting fitting, to say the least, considering he had no guns.
Oh, it's a pure. I my brain just clicked and I just looked at the highs. I had just projected hybrid guns on there. And I blinked. I'm like, now they're smart bombs. What happened?
Yes. So I was not aware of any of this stuff being brought to this grid until like I didn't even shoot any of the high end ships that were on this grid, and I just realized when you did, and I was looking at it, there's no guns on this. There's some fancy modules on here, like a Unit F-4, which is a officer drop from the drone lands of all places, and
This is absolutely just a um
it's get on as many kill mails as possible
you
and
know
get
what?
yourself
My
kicked
job
out
is
of.
webbing. I am webbing.
Yes, he yeah, he has some work to do because if you don't know, if you smart bomb your own militia, even outside of faction warfare
Oh
space,
yeah.
unless it's in nullsec, you still take a slight standings hit. And with as many folks as that fight, I do believe he has some work ahead of him to fix those standings.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't envy that. A second vehement has died by none other than Bombeldo.
And see, and this man put guns on his as in true wizard fashion.
In true wizard passion. And then he had Abyssal Stasis Webs. Bombeldo. How many kills did Bombeldo get?
That
Let
I
me.
do not know.
I'm. I'm.
Well, you look into
I'm.
that.
I'm going to be
Looks
taking a
like he
look at
died
that.
to the DRL dreads that were dropped. I sat at 0 of all those dreads for a very long time, so I'm very surprised I did not die because I was in an Archon class vessel, and I did not die to them until I think I died to a Russian MPSI fleet, if I remember correctly.
Looks like Bombeldo was ISK positive,
Oh,
considering that he got on Casper's vehement. So those two kind of equal out, and he was ISK positive with taking out a Vindicator, Tempest,
nice.
other fun stuff, a Revelation, PNI,
Now I wonder,
all
did he
sorts of
get
fun
on
stuff.
the more expensive dreadnought that was in this event.
Oh, he did not. He did not get on the Sarathiel from Warlock Industries.
Yeah, I missed this as well. Also, Warlock, as a newsman to newsman, you need to fit all of your ship. Having an empty mid slot on your Sarathiel,
Oh
that's
my
not that's
gosh.
not good journalism. That's just not good journalism.
I mean, let's be honest. It is on par with semi-reliable. It's just part of the bit.
You broke me. You had me. You had me until then. What's interesting about this is something I brought up, I think, to him or someone else. I thought about this because if you didn't know, the Sarathiel can get, I think, I forget the percentage, but it can still move while sieged. So if it's moving in
Yes.
siege, it loses speed, but not near as much as any other dread. And I thought, I wonder how well it would do with artillery. As it boats away and drifts, I wonder if artillery would be a fun way to just absolutely delete some vessels. And it looks like he tried it. I don't know if he got any kill mills with it, but I think that was something I thought about because I'm a silly person. I'm not allowed to fit my own ships. So that was something I thought about that'd be kind of fun to do. And it looks like he did try it with some Concord Quad 3500 artillery, which is something you rarely see. You almost never see artillery on dreadnoughts. I've only seen it used a few times on sieges of keep stars in the fort and the like. I was with Triumvirate and we did some similar things where we put a lot of paints on PNI or other ships and painted targets for the artillery naglfars and stuff like that.
Yeah, and one thing that he with the Sarathiel can do is it can also capital micro jump drive while in siege as well. So even if he has, so if he's sieged, just taking a look at this, if he is sieged with a 50,000 MN micro warp drive, he can move at a whopping 17.7 meters a second.
It's not as drifty as I'd hoped it was, but
The main drift comes from being able to every 3 minutes being able to just blink 250 kilometers away.
yeah, I think the downside to that is, unfortunately, I do believe that's shut off by one single scram, which is exceedingly unfortunate for a vessel as expensive as this. That a single slasher boy with a scram can prevent you from doing your Michael Jordan maneuver and prevent you from doing some cool things with it, which is
Yeah.
but of note, he has some fancy modules on here. He's got a Cormax modified large plasma smart bomb as the pinnacle of things fitted on here. Other than, of course, the fact that the ship is around 66 bill on Z kill. I'm not sure what they go for in game, but it's about, what is that? 354 euros or $354, relatively speaking.
Yeah. And that's one thing I don't necessarily agree with is um converting things into real dollars. Um
Yeah, I
because
think.
I think it leads to a bad perception personally
Yeah,
of like being able to purchase something. I understand the value of being able to equate the damages
hmm
to real world for things like Forbes magazine. Whenever
yeah,
we want to get into a big business magazine
hmm
or article or something, $300,000 in damages in 22 hours in a virtual video game. It makes it sound like $300,000 was spent.
yeah, and that's not always the case.
Yeah,
It's good for headlines, but us Eve players
yeah,
know that you can't really pay yourself to be good within the respect of doing like you're not going to pay your way to owning an entire giant alliance of people or stuff like that. It
yeah,
takes a little bit more nuance than that. Can you fund a lot of things? Sure. Could you buy a lot of fancy ships? Sure. Will you lose a lot of that stuff if you don't have a group of folks around you? Yes.
yeah. My thing is that dollar conversion makes us sound like Second Life,
hmm Yeah.
the game Second Life.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
that's just a pet peeve.
Yeah, no worries. I take it.
The more you find out about me.
Yep. Not a lot of other news in Eve, so that covers our basic things there. But we did have Operation Avalon come to a conclusion recently with them just turning off the vendors for that, the points and whatnot, I believe, right?
Yeah, and then with that, we're starting to see some prices for items like the new breach control module
Hmm.
start to rise steadily.
What?
So yeah, we're starting to see them rise steadily, and the breach control module is a module that I predict is going to be a requirement for Roracle pilots soon.
Hmm.
Yes, it's 2 minutes of 90% reduction in breacher pod damage, because a lot of whaling groups will use a cenotaph
Hmm.
now. And what ends up happening is because it does resistanceless damage, it bypasses a Roracle's panic.
Mm.
So, effectively removing the response time, or shortening the response window for a response fleet. Now, the standard operating procedure for Roracles before the new deathless ships arrived was let your shields drop to 30% and then hit your panic at once you hit 30%. What ended up happening is that standard operating procedure was not compatible with the cenotaphs, because then what ended up happening is the cenotaph breacher pod had enough staying power and to chunk through the remaining 30% resistanceless, and then once the shields are down, the rest of the fleet could start hitting the Roracle again, because the panic resistances only applied to shield. So it was killing Roracles left, right, and center. So they had to change some um, standard operating procedures. But yeah, the cenotaph effectively removes the response time, uh, kind of buffer allowance. So what this breach control module does is it gives the Roracle and the response fleet back 2 minutes where they didn't have them.
Hmm.
So now, yes, the module burns out after 2 minutes, but that's 2 minutes longer than the response
Yeah.
fleet had. So,
Now, will it shut off a
so yeah,
dot if it's already been applied? Is my question. So if I hit that button, will it shut off the dot?
no, it's not going to turn off the dot. It's just going to reduce its damage by 90%.
Okay, that makes sense. The I
So,
could see groups not under large super cap umbrellas or close by, maybe not doing it too much because those responses from those groups that are very close within the I guess we could call it the tier one area of solve space here soon. But I could see outlying groups or folks who are not going to have super big responses fairly quickly, having to have that as a requirement, as to be out there would be my guess, or they won't get anyone come save them. I could see that.
yeah,
Now, I wondered, is this possibly a module that FC is putting out there in the world to become another module for capitals eventually? Because with this coming up,
I I could see I could see a suite of anti cenotaph niche gameplay
I think just for
being
capitals.
incorporated. Yeah. And I think that's what the breach control module is intended for. This is the Roracle use case was the very first use case I thought of. Now, it's really not going to do a whole lot. Oh, like it acts as just a basic Tech 2 damage and control for you up until you activate it, and then
Hmm.
it gives you, like, yeah, so you don't even need to activate it for
Hmm.
the basic resistances. So you kind of just have it on as a Tech 2 damage control, and then, oh no, I'm getting dropped on. Crabbers will use this. I'm getting dropped on. Roracles will use it. I'm getting dropped on. and then they'll follow their standard operating procedure and then click the breach control button,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll have 2 minutes of reduced cenotaph damage. And they don't have to activate it. They can hold on to it for as long as they need to, or if there's no cenotaph or tholos in the enemy mix, then they can just kind of leave it for another day. And it's not like the module just completely breaks and you can never use it ever again. You just go back to station and repair it. But
Yeah. See,
yeah,
I could see it being a thing where the work wall burns out, because that makes sense, because you already have an invul module on top of another possible, effectively invul module for another ship. So I can see the burnout for that. I think you could do it on capitals, but you make it very cap intensive. Like, say Hall folks we would probably want to use something like this, like Bombellos. We'll say, in for instance, him, he brings that module along, but it chugs on cap, so you have a trade-off to where you're having to manage your cap even further with another heavy cap intensive capacitor intensive mod that doesn't burn out. Or if it does burn out, maybe don't destroy it to where they lose so many resists that it becomes a module not to be used. I think that'd be a fun way to use it. Just make it very cap intensive to where, you know, it's it can still be fun, I think, for folks to use if you do that, and not something that will hurt small gangs too too badly. Because if you make it super cap intensive, then I could see uh, small gangs using that to their advantage for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? But that would be what I would do.
yeah, I could see a breach control module added, a variant where you get something of the level of a basic damage control, the storyline damage control, where
Hmm.
it's worse than the Tech 1, but you get 5 minutes
Hmm.
of breacher pod resistances.
So you'd be more along the lines of having a timer instead of something that would take away cap and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that
Hmm.
way you're not getting the damage control resistances as well, but you're getting that breach pod resistance time.
Yeah, I think that'd be one of the two options, or a mixture of the two would be good. Personally, is we're pontificating on what we would like to see with that kind of thing. Um, I was not really into Operation Avalon past playing some Vanguard and doing a little bit of the timeline for the rewards track for that, but I didn't get further along. But I'm guessing you did.
Yes, so I completed all 1,000 points of the Operation Avalon track, and so I got myself a couple different items. Let me go ahead and sort through my uh, hold on to sell hanger. I've got myself some different things that I had purchased. I got the new inertial stabilizer and then 2 breach controls. One I purchased with my points, and the other I had just bought as a investment.
Hmm.
The modified inertial stabilizer, it's the best in terms of inertial modifier. It's the third worst when it comes to the signature radius, which means it's not that bad.
Yeah.
So previously the best in slot would have been the Shadow Serpentis inertial stabilizer with 21.5% inertial modifier
Hmm.
reduction, and then a 10% signature radius debuff. Whereas the new officer one has a 22.5 inertial modifier, so 1% more, but 1% less signature radius hit.
And we're seeing the
So,
prices on all that go up. I'm guessing since the
uh,
event's over.
one thing that's interesting with all of the new officer modules that are being introduced, the ones for the Caldari event or the Capsuleer Day event for the Galinti elections, is all of them stay relatively cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the Moreau modified expanded probe launcher. That one was initially selling for 800 million ISK. At the start of the event, there was a massive wave of trading at the end of the event. Kind of went, or excuse me. So, massive wave of trading at the end of the event, dropping all the way down to 380 mil. Kind of spiked back up to 600, but it's drifted in the months since down to um, 300 mil. So it was that big last trade was 380 mil,
Mm-hmm.
went up to 600. Now it's down to under 300.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I'm seeing quite a lot with these modules, and we're seeing it with the Rodans,
Mm-hmm. Well,
um,
I think with those modules,
nano
they weren't
frame.
super like, oh, these are massive upgrades or something along those lines. From what I understood of looking at a lot of those, correct? But I think these other ones that just came out are, for the most part, overall better tiered kind of stuff.
Oh, these are no joke modules.
Oh,
These are
okay.
no joke modules, absolutely. Um, for example, one item that has really retained its value is Torigo's modified capacitor flex coil. That is still holding a 1.3 bill value,
Mm.
and we can just see these are the best of the best. These are officer grade modules.
Oh, okay.
They're just so proliferated. Like, for
Yeah.
example, the Moreau modified expanded probe launcher. That one is better than Sisters expanded core probe launcher. So it's got a 15% increase in probe scan strength. Plus, it's an expanded. Plus, it's easier to fit. It's a little harder to fit than a Sisters,
Yeah.
but it's still easier to fit than a expanded probe launcher too. So,
I guess
so
my
that's one
one.
thing. That, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was trying to think. I wonder if the lack of like you're talking about either folks are struggling with some of the event things. I wonder if maybe we'll see less volume maybe than the other two events because it was so easy to do the other events. I wonder if we'll see less volume with this one because not as many folks played Vanguard, not as many folks did the hacking stuff as probably normally would be with like the Galente event.
No, I believe that we're gonna see quite a few items sell, uh, and in pretty good quantity as well with the Operation Avalon stuff. The reason why I say that is, and I'm ADDing selling a bunch of stuff that I'm like, oh, that doesn't need to be in my accumulate value hanger. Um, so the reason why I say that is a lot of players were sweating really hard, including myself,
Mhm.
with the Operation Avalon event in Eve. Now, there were a lot of people hunting the different squalls. That was one of the biggest surprises. Is this is the third or fourth iteration of FC introducing a combat scannable NPC
Mhm.
and you needing to go scan it down. Uh, Up until this event, they've never shot back. So that was a little bit of a wake up call for my Hecate. So
Were
that
they
was
pretty
like
difficult, or Hecate still kind of handle them?
the Hecate definitely was able to handle them. It was not to the level that I was really kind of expecting. So I basically needed to reload my Ansel every time. Um, so and even then I was like half hull.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
they were no joke. They were no joke.
I wonder if we're seeing a ramp up
Um,
from that kind of thing. I wonder if they're going to keep increasing these kind of things to where, the higher end stuff may require. I maybe this is just me, but maybe they eventually get to the point where we're going to have starting to have small groups to engage these things.
well, one thing that was happening previously is you would see a lot of probes like probe fleet issue and things like that, going after and doing those squall and Yule lad hunting, because they did not do any damage back then. So this was effectively to push those. Unfortunately, it pushed those players out because the probe fleet issue definitely cannot tank like the Hecate, Hecate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pushing more people into the Tech 3 destroyers, the T3 cruisers. One thing that was really interesting was seeing a lot of people choose. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it very often where people were choosing to leave the squalls alone and let them go off to the hidden base location. They would just take them out. And there
Mm-hmm.
was still a respawning issue with them. So they were supposed to keep respawning so that way you could follow them to the secret bases and stuff that were like 30, 40 AU outside the solar system.
Oh wow.
It was mechanically a very cool event. What ended up happening is it was so there's no better way to say this. It was such a sweat heavy event. What ended up happening is there were only so many sites.
Mm-hmm.
Each one was heavily picked. If you were trying to do the salvaging
Mm-hmm.
objective, for example, what ended up happening is you might get yourself to a salvaging site, and there's 10 salvaging wrecks that you can grab, all with different loot and things like that. You might get one. And then you would have to warp to another salvaging site, and then you would get 1 out of 10. It was just that heavily farmed by players, and not that it was like one person going around and farming it. There were so many people out. The competition was so high. You effectively, it took a lot of people a long time in order to get a lot of the rewards out of it. So the balance, the quantity of sites available was a little too small for it, and no one was doing the low sec sites. When people were complaining there was no null sec sites this time around because, well, in lore it's only affecting the empires and it's only empire space, so that's why it's not in any of those. Now, the one thing I didn't like the person I became with the Operation Avalon event. I live streamed it, and I was live streaming the Eve side of the Avalon event. And what ended up happening was, like with the salvaging, for example, I had set up my fit in such a way. I had such high amount of access difficulty with my salvagers that what ended up happening is, as long as you start the cycle in optimal range, you can leave range of the wreck and it'll complete it. It won't fail because you went out of range like a hacking thing. It just, if you fail the salvage, you have to get back in range to re-engage it. So what I was doing was I was just locking everything up. I was going doing and just cruising past. And there were sites where I alone would get 8 out of 10 of the racks.
Wow.
Just MWD on, just manually flying. And the reason why I say I didn't like the person I became to complete the event is my salvage chances were so high that I would go over to a rack that someone had burned like 3 cycles of salvage trying to get on, and I would just get it in 1 cycle. I would just steal it out from under them. Um, so that's why when I was done with the salvage objective, I left it. I'm like, I don't want to keep stealing it from people.
I was say, is
If
this
I
the start
saw
of
a
the Lynn
player
Rankin villain arc? Is this what we're about? Is this what we're seeing right now?
no. My villain arc started with the exploration sites for that. That one I got hyper aggressive on. So I had successfully stolen one data container from someone. If you don't know this, each container for exploration gets 2 chances. And what ends up happening is when you fail, you lose the window, whatever. And if you're not quick enough, you can't start up another one. And someone who has it locked, and there's a little symbol. There's just a tiny icon change that there's just like little brackets that disappear.
Hmm.
They appear when an active hack is happening, so you know who is actively hacking something.
Hmm.
And then as soon as that goes away, I hit the button and I stole a data container right out from under someone because they failed their first hack. And you can't start hacking until someone has failed a hacking attempt. I only managed to do that one time, but I with I kid you not, with the way that I've just gravitated towards exploration, I I'm scary when it comes to hacking, and even that was a little too sweaty for me. It
Oh,
was I don't like sweaty gameplay,
not.
and I did the Operation Avalon up until I got 1,000 points, and it was just at that point I was glad it was done. The Galente election event, the Capsuleer Day event, those ones felt a little more casual friendly. This one
Hmm.
was, if you were not sweating, you were losing.
Yeah,
And I didn't like that. I
yeah.
personally did not like that.
I did not get very
So,
far. I only completed some of the missions in Vanguard. I maybe got a third of the way up the thing, so I didn't get hardly any of the rewards from any of that at all. But I do like the Vanguard tie-in. It was very nice that I could, if I got the missions done in Vanguard, I could have completed the whole track, which was kind of nice.
yeah.
Uh, I didn't play enough Vanguard because again, I am a controller-based first-person shooter guy, so this me using my fingies on the keyboard was not working very well. But your overall thoughts on Vanguard? Other than the having to be a little bit sweaty about it, do you think it was an okay event? Because for me, I didn't get too involved with it because there wasn't a lot for low sec stuff that interests me to do. I'm not a hacking kind of guy or anything like that. So I'll do a PvE site if it's very interesting. It can maybe generate some content, but past that, I didn't get into the hacking, the salvaging part of that.
So, as far as the Eve tie-in event, again, it was very sweaty. I don't like sweaty events.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Uh, it still felt a little tacked on. So I'm going to say that the Operation Avalon event, other than including the new cool modules,
Hmm.
I was a little let down. I had more fun inside of Vanguard itself than doing the Eve tie-in event. And the most fun I had with Vanguard was running around in a mining laser and knife combo.
Hmm.
Um,
Keep it
my
moving.
my favorite memory so far is me running to a extraction. So there were 3 players that were activating the extraction. What ended up happening is they activated it. They were getting attacked by a player, a random fourth person with the sniper rifle, and I jump down from a little cliff and I run past the the guy heading towards the portal because I'm gonna try and join in on the evac. So I'm like, hi, bye. as I'm running by the sniper. I jump, the portal turns off. Now I'm standing in the middle of a empty portal. So then I'm running around, and the guy's trying to shoot me, and I tell him I only have a mining laser. I only have a mining laser, and then he kind of drops his guard a little bit, and then I go, and I have a knife. That
Oh,
thing was like it was polarized.
oh my goodness.
Uh, so he was not happy. He was down for a minute, and I was trying to see if I could do any damage with the mining laser to take out a downed player, and no. Mining damage needs to be a little. You can do damage with the mining laser, but it needs to be improved. I'm pretty sure if you're getting a concentrated laser beam of plasma to your face that's
It would sting.
strong enough to break a rock, it should do more damage than a bullet.
I think what we've learned here is you become a villain in first-person shooters, but you are the hero within
Oh
Eve.
yes,
Okay, so
yes,
we see
yes.
the dichotomy of Lynn Rankin here.
A polarized knife. Polarized
Polarized
knife.
knife. Nice. We did gloss
So
over something I wanted to cover. It was the community beat for July,
yeah,
31 July.
let's wrap up. Let's wrap up with that.
So my alliance got featured in it this time, talking about we just dropped the How to Faction Warfare. It looks like a meme with our new little rat thing on there, but basically it's how we personify within Learn, especially. You know, get a new bro, put you in Destroyer, get you into a small plex to earn some ISK, and just get you comfortable with grabbing a ship, going out there and losing it, because you can earn, it's not crazy amounts of ISK, but you can earn 50 to 100 mil in ISK an hour doing plexing. Strictly plexing,
Yeah.
this will garner you content. And FC shouted us out with there and poked fun at us, along with FC Jotun on the Nerds podcast as well, uh, which is
And
quite,
then quite what?
quite hilarious that we were getting called out for our ratness.
And I think you've been doing a fair bit of that with your streams with
Hmm.
and just your little bits of spreading
Hmm.
the word of cheese.
I'm merely a rat priest within the religion that is Jesus. So,
Exactly,
and if you haven't
exactly.
used it,
And Pandora,
yeah,
Pandora got
have
a massive rebuild. You're going to be able to talk better about it. I'm just kind of
a little. I've
introducing
not
it.
played deeply into Eve Pandora, but I did meet Det Respro at FanFest, and he's an incredible human being. Very taller than expected, but he's a very good dude. He does stream on Twitch as well. He just kind of puts Eve Pandora up, shows folks it every once in a while, and leaves the stream up so folks can get rewards and stuff like that. But it's got a ton of things in there, and if you ever want to see something funny, you can pull up your own profile in there, and it does an AI gen of, it pulls from Reddit, and it looks for your player name and puts information in there, and it's pretty. It was scary how close it was and how funny it was in some things too, and it's some of the information it pulled. So if you ever want to have a laugh, go to Eve Pandora and check out your character in there. It's kind of funny with the information they pull from it. But
While we talk about the next thing, I'm going to actually
yeah, see if
pull
it'll
that
pull
up
you up because
and
it's quite funny.
all
But
right. So I'm going to go ahead and do that while you talk about the next bit.
so Life of a Corporation, which is pretty interesting. The New Eden Civil Stores, of course, is what they go into, but they talk about McAllis Incorporated, which has a long history in Eve. They've been, I think, since 2002, so basically the start of the game. Um, they were mainly known for their time within, Wildly Appropriate. It's kind of when they started picking up real and notoriety, and then Razor, Bastion. These are some in the history of Eve, some very large groups, and of course now they're in Goon Swarm, of course. But they've been around since October 28th of 2002. Looking at this, they were here for the beta, and so it's a great to see a shout out for them in the history of a group. I don't think you'll find that other MMOs that have 24 years of history in and of themselves, which is crazy. And then, we dig further into it after this. They go into the curious case of the Vanishing Drakes, where apparently the Live to Feed FCB and Banquet folks were running around and chasing stragglers from a Drake fleet, and then all of a sudden they're gone due to a bombing run that murdered the rest of the boss fleet, which was kind of hilarious to see. Uh, and then, of course, a video from Only Fleets, which is a very well done video from them that's on YouTube called We Stayed, which is showing the only Fleets folks breaking sovereignty from Can I Bring My Drake, which a big fight, 870 pilots there, 177 billion ISK. But yeah.
And then we have rampancy rising. The rampant drone fabricators are back. So those were introduced during the Galente election event, and now they're back as a wormhole exclusive combat site.
Mm-hmm.
And the cap has increased from 30 waves to 100. The first 100 wave clear has occurred by no vacancies.
Mm-hmm.
And it took them dozens of HA dreadnoughts, took them 5 to 6 hours
Yep.
of grinding and hold control. I believe they came out with, if I recall, somewhere in the range of 120 billion.
Yeah, I was gonna say because 80 bill I think was their last haul from the 98 wave run or whatever it was.
Yeah. So they did. And my profile update failed over on Eve Pandora. So
still in the works. Still.
Oh wait, no. Okay. Wow, that is long.
Yeah, it's a read. Like it's a history.
Holy cow.
It's like a story. I love it. But I think the fun thing.
Cow.
Yeah, it's deep, isn't it?
Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna have to turn this into a segment on my stream
there you
tomorrow.
Go. That's what I figured. That's why I wanted you to look at because it's eerie. Like it's like, yeah. But I think the fun thing about
crap,
it is
it even plugs my Discord.
Yes, it does.
With an accurate link.
Yep. But what I was gonna say, I think the fun thing for the rampancy thing was the QR code they got for the Skinner thing, which says I did wave 100 and all I got was this QR code or this skin or something like that, which is hilarious. I love that kind of thing. And then of course Nerds had their latest video come out where they poke at us a little bit in their typical fashion for all that. But that is your news from New Eden. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Lynn Ranking, for joining me. Check him out on his Eve streams and his wonderful YouTube videos.
And be sure to check out Orion Saw Solo right here.
Yes, and thank you all so much. I will see you in New Eden. Ta-ta.